All right, Chi-Town, we should be live. Q show. This is the Self Love Show, Pink Terror, Part 1, New York, 1863.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
In entering upon this course of instruction, each of you should, so far as possible, lay aside for the time being all previous theories and beliefs. By so doing, you will be saved the trouble of trying all the way through the show to put, quote, new wine into old wineskins, end quote. Luke chapter 5, verse 37. If there's anything as we proceed which you don't understand or agree with, just let it lie passively in your mind until you have enjoyed the entire show. For many statements that would at first arouse antagonism and discussion will be clear and easily accepted a little farther on. After the show is over, if you wish to return to your old beliefs and ways of living, you are at perfect liberty to do so. But for the time being, be willing to become as a little child, for said the Master in spiritual things, quote, except ye become as little children, ye shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven, end quote. Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. If at times there seems to be repetition, please remember, the Self Love Show is a lesson, not a lecture.
Block right here. I should call this shit no block. It's 10 o'clock. Where the fuck y'all niggas at? Yeah, this what y'all wanted me in Chicago? O block right here. I should call this shit no block. It's 10 o'clock. Where the fuck y'all niggas at? Niggas ain't outside. It's only 10 p.m. Where the fuck y'all niggas at, blood?
O block right now. Where we at? Tell you something, man. This Nino Brown, man. I'm live on O block right now. Where we at? This O block. I'm from Miami. I just want to tell niggas, man, we gotta stop killing each other, man. Yeah, this shit ain't about nothing. All that killing shit, we gotta work together, man. Stop killing each other, my nigga. I had to come over here and tell niggas that shit, my nigga.
I'm right here. See where I'm at. I'm out here. Black Star Line cigars. For grown man. And some grown man stuff. And to the PDs, stop doing that killing. Please, stop doing that killing. We're covering Pink Terror. This is first still in the series.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be the ones, but let's not be selfish, and because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change.
24 years ago today, iconic rapper Tupac Shakur was shot here in Las Vegas.
The rapper was shot inside of a BMW while stopped at a red light on Koval and Flamingo. We all know the story. He then died 6 days later. The shooting happened after a Mike Tyson fight against Bruce Sheldon at MGM Grand. And then there was a brawl inside of the lobby right after that fight. Tupac was in the car with Marion Suge Knight, who was grazed by a bullet. No one has ever been arrested for Tupac's murder.
And even in this instance, if I could be a service to a 9-year-old girl or a 19-year-old woman or girl who wants to be a woman, is to really remember that self-love is the best way that you can receive love from anybody else, because it's coming from you. A lot of times we forget that. We look externally for this love. We look externally for this feeling.
Self Love Show starts shortly.
And adoration and approval. And it has to come from within.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Buddy. Absolutely. I'm just a kid from Chicago. Chi-Town kids are back. Self-love. Vision. I'm just a kid from Chicago. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Chi-Town's very own, the Self Love Show. We got two mottos around here. Motto number one is on earth as it is in heaven. Praise to all the ancestors. Big ups, Mama Sky. Big ups. Motto number two is as above, so below. Right now, we can be found Malcolm exclusively right here on the YouTube channel. This ain't that network. You haven't tuned in to Fox. You haven't tuned in to MSNBC. You know, you haven't tuned in to ABC, CBS, Disney. You haven't tuned in to ESPN, but you have tuned in to This Ain't That Network. TATN. Huh? TATN. Huh? This is your co-host, 9 Millie, also known as Self, and I'm just a kid from Chicago. What down, Shot Town. What down. Repeat after me. I am greater than my excuse. I am greater than my excuse. One more again for the charm. I am greater than my excuse. Today is Hump Day. January 12, 2022. As always, we love to acknowledge that you cats can be any place in this vast and magnanimous universe. And thankfully, we all, Scooter chose, big up Scooter, we all chose to be here together. Yeah? Here together. What down, Self Love? What you manifest today, brother Wordsmith?
Love. You know me, love. 9. Yep. What you manifest?
Same here, brother. Pure, magnificent, magnanimous, unfettered. Many times terse, I've been told. Direct, tough. But at the end of the day, fam, love, just the same, G.
Facts.
What's been going on in your neck of the shot, brother?
Man, I out and about, rolled up on 2 scenes. Y'all stop that shooting. Y'all stop it. 2 scenes on 63rd and King Drive, and the other one was 66 and right off Damon.
Man, so 6 Trey and King Drive, you was over by Parkway Gardens, old block, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, what time of day did you drive across that scene?
About noon, 12:30 or something.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback on what he just said, y'all. Put the blicks down. There's other ways to resolve your conflicts. You know, a retarded monkey could, point a gun at somebody and pull a trigger, but it takes a man to figure out how to resolve conflicts like a man. And, sometimes you just got to take an L. Bro, a lot of this, somebody just got their hands put on them and just couldn't accept the L. I mean, I'm not saying that was the case with you saw, but yes, this is a lot of times that's what it is. They just couldn't take the L, bro.
Yeah.
Then they end up in a nice prison cell, if not in a casket, but they'll do a murder or whatever with a gun, end up in a nice prison cell, and they get to spend the next, 20 years or so, if not longer, around a bunch of men, and no women and no guns.
Facts.
Guess that's the lifestyle they want, huh?
Yeah, some of the stuff they do, I mean, it just don't make sense.
Just don't make sense, bro. Just don't make sense. So, but yeah, y'all stop the violence and, hug one another. So today, vibrate love. So today, what to expect on today's show, we're kicking off a new series, but before I go there, as always, we have the Self Luv Show quote of the day. And then we do our MGD or more growth and development video. That's less than a minute. It'll let you know what this platform stands for. Next, we run a short video. It's called Tattoo Tyranny. We catch something off of the news feed. Self Love and I, we run it. And then we unpack it or react to it. And then how to move or not to move. That's an even shorter clip that Self Love and I react to. And then we decide if that's how our community should move or if that's how it should not move. And we encourage chat participation. And then from there, we quickly go to our dome teaser. That's the riddle. That's where Self Love challenges the chat. We give you a riddle and Self Love solves it. And the chat just sits there like this. Yeah, do riddle. I don't do riddles. Riddles are stupid. I ain't do a riddle. All right, you'll be sitting there hearing birds in the ears, and then so from the dome teaser, we jump to our topic, which has been retitled "Pink Terror." We start with the 1863 massacre in New York. And so that's number one in our new series. We're going to do it and this stuff has been going on pretty much since the 1600s, I've discovered through the research, but wow. There's not a lot of historical data, so we're starting at 1863 in New York. And then we do next week's sneak peek. We let you know what we got in store. We got a greater show lined up next week. Fantastic guests. We'll talk about it later. And then we close it out with my personal favorite part of the whole shebang, and that's going to be Brother Wordsmith's final words out. But first, we do our announcements. And I just want to just kind of remind you guys that this show is not a clout chase. We need you to share this link. We need you to get as many people to subscribe as possible because we've got tiers. Now at 299 subscribers, which we've surpassed, Self Love's going to get himself psychologically digressed. I don't know what the hang up is. Oh yeah, regress.
Construction is the problem now.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're greater in our excuses, and we got to get that done. We told these people we're going to get it done, and we got to get it done, whether it's emerge or not. All right, and then at $4.99, once we get to 499 subscribers, that's another 111 subscribers. You guys are going to get to see myself and my lovely wife skydive. Neither of us have any experience at that, so this is a conquer your fears project, because fear is an illusion. When we get to 999 subs, that's where we get. We're going to jump off an electronic Saturday school. We'll do it electronically, and we have some great cats that can do the lectures from a week-to-week basis, including myself and Self Love. So that'll be no charge. All you'd have to do is just have your child or young adult chime in. When we reach 1,499 subscribers, we're going to sit down with my lovely wife, the Mrs. Black Terminator. She's going to be on the show. And then that's going to be a great one. And then when we get to 1,999 subscribers, Self Love and I, we're going to dig up the local alderman, and press that person to sit with us. And if not, we'll get some footage of that refusal and, get some nice, back and forth. At 2,999 subscribers, we're going to launch the Self Luv Show Mentors Network. That's on our platform, as you'll see shortly. Huge part of our platform, and we believe that the mentors are key to turning our community around, and that could stop some of the violence that this brother was just speaking on. Once we achieve 3,999 subscribers, that's where, the big trip to Mount Shasta, Self Love. We're going to do some sky viewing, and it's nice and dark around there and a lot of nature. And then at 4,999 subs, we're going back down to the Delta, people. Another dark places where we can look at the sky. We'll get some footage and do the show from there and talk to some of the elders down in the Delta. And then at 5,999 subscribers, that's where we go to the Nevada Desert Resort. That's right, Nevada Desert Resort. Now, their light pollution is near zero. It's near zero, so Self Love and I will have a 900 camera. Love that number. And we're going to go down there and do some sky gazing. 6,999 subscribers. That's right. We're going to go black to Africa. We're going to go to the motherland. got to get the subscribers, though. We're going to go to Africa. We're going to film this whole thing. We're going to do a show from Africa. And you guys give us some suggestions as where we should go. I'm thinking either the Congo, but that's still open. Once we get to 7,999 subscribers, Self Love and I are going to rendezvous, which would be rendezvous, with the mothership. That's the plan. And that's going to be in Utah. Okay. It's going to be at a Utah resort. We expect the mothership to appear. If not, then, well, you know. All right. And then at 8,999 subscribers, that's where we start feeding our nation, physically feeding our nation. We're going to kick off a Breakfast Club program vis-a-vis the Black Panther Party. We're working out the details on that. And then once we get to 9,999 subscribers, that's where everything really goes into motion. And Self Love and I are gonna, kick the can and spark the change that is going to put the seed into the whole planet. Should we say so?
Absolutely.
Facts. So
Impregnate.
facts.
Dimension.
Facts. So we need you to know, Self Love and I, we're not doing this for personal gain or clout. Any monies that comes from views, which, we haven't had, but any monies that comes from that or from subscriber base is going to be used to finance these things that we're talking about. And then the whole step of the way, you guys will be there with us. Self Love, you got any announcements, bro?
Like, share, subscribe, share far and wide. Got to get the like minds. Got to get the like minds. It's of the utmost essence at this time. We got to get the like minds together. We have to. So, somebody that's, a little like us, somebody. Put them on to it. Put them on to it.
Send the links to all the single parents because this is basically mentorship too. Most of our shows, I'd say, could definitely be, 15 years old and up, some even 13 and up. I mean, if it's geared towards mentorship, we give a PG-13 presentation. But for the most part, we keep it respectful. And we think it'll be a wonderful tool. If you're having trouble with a son or a daughter, some of these shows, sit down and let them get this knowledge.
Absolutely.
Now, if today, if we have any historians out there, or if anyone has any family memories or stories of, any massacres that their family had told them about, we want to hear from you. Also, let us know in the chat where you're checking in from. And I'll stop my blabbing and turn it over to this brother so he can handle his BI.
As always, we have the Self Love Show quote of the day. And right after that, we're going to have the very, very important video, the More Growth and Development platform that we're building the Self Love Nation off of. But without further ado, examine what is said, not as who is speaking. Examine what is said, not who is speaking. It's an African proverb. And here it is. The More Growth and Development. Silverback More Growth and Development platform. Number 1, repair our nation via reparations. We demand our silver back. Number 2, to connect our breadwinners with our activists. And 3, show an accurate depiction of African American Chi-Town. 4, shine a light on positive influence. 5, heal our community one person at a time. 6, to provide an unfiltered platform for our influencers. 7, recycle the black dollar. 8, to provide mentors for the mentorless. 9, close the gap between us and our pink kinsmen.
We're closing the gap. Yeah, we're definitely getting that
and
gap
10.
closed.
Got to get that gap closed. But 10 is to protect our women and children.
Facts. Yeah, man. I got to get this video made. That'll be done by next week, bro. We got to amend this video we've been running. It's got a lot of views, though, because we run it every show. But that's good, man. Repeat that, bro, because that's extremely important.
Number 10 is to protect our women and children.
Man, we do number 10. We can't do nothing but win, huh?
Facts.
Man, it's funny you said that, bro. It was a brother, man, doing food deliveries in Detroit and driving down 8 Mile, and he sees a baby that was like 3 years old or less, walking around in a pamper and just a t-shirt. And, it was cold, like bone-chilling cold.
Wow.
Just walking down the street, bro, like in the middle of the night. And tell you how great Spirit is. So lucky he was a good brother who found him. He puts him in his truck, puts his coat on him, has the heat on, and he went live. And then he, of course, called 911. He said the baby was like freezing. His lips were changing colors by the time he saw him, man. The baby couldn't tell him his name. That's how young he was. And it turned out the baby was supposed to have been being babysat by his 16-year-old brother or sister or whatever. And somehow the child just walked out. And people, we got to do better.
We have to.
Right?
Absolutely. I mean, we got to take care of our younger people. Got to put them on the path where they need to be.
What are the odds that that family hasn't put a special lock or something on that door after all this happened? What are the odds that they haven't changed one thing on how they move?
High.
Very high. The mom or dad probably screamed at the 16-year-old, you know what I mean? But so I would suggest to that family, you have an incredibly intelligent child, and inquisitive, and put special locks on there so that child can't
just high enough where they can't reach it.
Yes. Yeah. But that child probably, man, remember you said you was pushing chairs together and getting your own cookies.
I sure did. I sure did.
When you got a smart child like that in Theta, they're gonna do what they want. They be paying. They be sitting there watching everything.
Yeah, that's what I did.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they got some sort of child safety, or you could put a beep, 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 beep. That kind of thing. Yeah,
something.
Yeah. I mean, come on. But yeah, thank God that didn't work out worse. Because can you imagine? Oh, my
angel
God.
Found him instead of a demon.
Exactly, brother. Exactly. So, and big ups to that driver, man. Big ups. Our last show, though, we had Leandrew Damas.
Yeah, man. It was expressive. A lot of information, a lot of gem factory.
Facts. And we're currently working behind the scenes, building a Betaverse empire. Yeah,
absolutely.
Won't give away the secret sauce, but he's heading us into the future.
Absolutely.
And the future is actually right now. And you guys in the chat, please like, share, subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe. That would do us
bell.
Facts. That would do us so much justice. Hit that bell. Eddie C, I see checking in. Big ups. Yo, as always, big ups. We got a great show today. It's Pink Terror. This is episode number 1. The 1863 New York City. They called them the draft riots. Self Luv and I have done our research, and of course, history is distorting what it was about and what really happened on that day. Speaking of Detroit, Self, that's going to be our second series in this. Detroit 1863.
Oh, okay. That's what's
Yeah.
up.
So, yeah. So, but big ups to Leandro. We appreciate you doing that, brother. He did a show with us, and he was talking about, the metaverse and Web3 and, Bitcoin, things of that nature, NFTs, and the future, which again is now. Yeah. So, Self, I don't know if you saw. Did you see the LAPD body cam from their Christmas tyranny?
No, I definitely didn't see that one.
Yeah, they released this a couple weeks ago. Just didn't have time. I know you're unplugged, so
Yeah,
we got it for you.
all right.
Breaking news, the LAPD releasing body cam and surveillance footage from an officer-involved shooting that took the life of a 14-year-old girl when officers fired on an assault suspect. Thanks again for joining us here on ABC 7, Hulu Live, and wherever you stream. I'm Ellen Leba. David's off tonight. More on that breaking story now. Just moments ago, the Los Angeles Police Department released body cam footage from the shooting scene at a Burlington store in North Hollywood. A 14-year-old girl trying on quinceañera dresses killed by an officer's stray bullet. Eyewitness News reporter Christian Cordero is live in downtown L.A. with the latest on the investigation and that just released video. Christian?
Just released, Ellen, and it is 35 minutes worth of video, the store surveillance, the body camera footage, and 911 calls. We want to make sure we get this right. So our team is combing through it right now, really trying to put it into context. But one thing we do want to show you is the moments leading up to the death of that
When this happened, I told you it smelled funny.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about this, but wow.
We'll get to the
Before they told the whole story, I was like, it smells funny.
The camera of his, the moments leading up to his death and that of the 14-year-old girl. We want to warn you, this might be hard to watch.
Victim down! Victim down! Hey, slow down. Let me take point with the rifle. Hey, back up.
Here, let me get front with the rifle.
All right.
He's hitting right on the right side. Hey, she's bleeding. She's bleeding.
Whoa, who was this?
Shots fired.
The chaos here happened just before noon on Thursday. The LAPD responded to calls from the Burlington in North Hollywood. Officers say when they arrived, they went into the store, saw a man assaulting a woman with some kind of metal object that they've described similar to a chain bike lock. At some point soon after finding the suspect, you heard one officer there fire 3 shots towards him. One of those shots hit and killed that man, who we now know is 24-year-old Daniel Elena Lopez. Another one of those shots went through the drywall past Lopez and hit 14-year-old Valentina Oriana Peralta. She was in the fitting room trying on quinceañera dresses with her mom. Her mother was next to her when she died. Officers have not yet shared who the original victim was, the woman who was being assaulted,
Christmas
but we're
Eve or
told
something.
that she went to the hospital with injuries to her head, face, and hands. Now, hours after all of this happened Thursday night, I spoke one-on-one with LAPD Chief Michael Moore, who called this tragic and devastating for everyone involved. He was profoundly sorry for the young girl's life. I asked him about the weapon, specifically whether it fits protocol to shoot, considering the LAPD hasn't recovered a gun.
Way too soon. I'm not going to speculate or make any type of judgment as to the officers' actions. I know that I do believe the officers were responding to a radio call of an assault with deadly weapon, of shots being fired. The description is one of serious nature, one in which people's lives could be at stake, and officers were responding to stop that threat and to protect people.
But you didn't.
That goes into a really important part of
Killed
this investigation, and
with
as
2
it now
people.
goes beyond the LAPD and into the Inspector General and the Attorney General's hands. We have heard, based on those 35
Using
minutes
the
of video
assault
that was just
rifle where,
released,
you know,
some 911 calls regarding a
bullets go
possible
through everything.
active shooter. So that's something that we're, of course, going to keep updating throughout the evening tonight. We understand, though, that that officer who fired those shots is on paid administrative leave, which is standard. There's a GoFundMe page and a petition for Valentina and her family. Reporting live near LAPD, I'm Christian Cordero, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Now, well, to give you some background. So the first day it happened, because I'm out here, and the cops just kept saying, we got to call. Before I even knew, that they had they weren't giving a host. They just kept saying, we got two or three calls of a man with a gun but they never were saying shooting or anything like that. So, Self, as you saw, they did shoot the alleged perpetrator.
Yes.
That was him.
Yeah.
But you see how far away he was from the victim
Yes.
at that time.
Yes.
So he was beating her down. He
Right.
ran away. And like you just said, you've got an assault rifle.
Yes.
That girl, rest her soul, the mom, they were hiding in there. The mom was literally holding her daughter when the bullet hit her daughter. That's come out in the local news later.
Oh my God.
So what say ye? I mean, now that guy there, so and then the chief or whoever that was, or the head of the union or whatever is like, well, we got calls of a person with a gun. Fine, people can call in and say whatever they want. Isn't it their job to assess the situation?
Yes, it should be. And somebody should have. Well, if there's a gun, then once there's not no gun, then why is he shooting him like that?
Correct.
Anyway.
Because according to their whole mindset, because people were calling in saying somebody had a gun, and I haven't heard any 911 calls, in their mind, Self, you could call in and say, this guy walking down the street has a gun, is walking down the street with a gun, and they're going to come in. I thought their training was to come in, okay, you come in under the assumption there may be a gun. You come in a little hotter than normal. But I thought they would be trained to know the difference between a gun and a bike lock. And even when they were walking through there, the cop was saying he's beating her now. It was nothing about he's shooting her or nothing.
And he was like, let me get up front.
Yes.
With the rifle.
With the rifle.
And he
at that store.
That's
what's big out here too. That's what they're talking about, Self, that level of force, and that's what we mean by defund. Even if he had used his pistol, maybe he wouldn't have gone through those walls like that and killed that girl. And you're using a rifle and you're missing shots.
Well, maybe, because with those rifles, man, the shots that went through him could have went in there and killed him. I mean, those shots, it's an assault rifle.
Wow.
Go through them and keep going down the block.
And you're using that during Christmas shopping time. I think it was like the 21st. It couldn't have been no earlier than that. At Burlington, that's what you pulled out, is an assault rifle because you got a call of a man with a gun. He sounded like he wanted to kill. The way he was like, get in the back, I got the rifle.
I wonder if he's military.
He probably is, and we've been talking about that. They shouldn't be able to do that. Ex-military, especially they've been to war. Yeah. What up, Ace? He checking in. He said, why does all of these officers have assault rifles? He had no idea what the situation was before firing. Correct. And the person wasn't even a threat at the point. He didn't see a gun. That person didn't stop and point a gun at him or nothing. He was running.
She's bleeding. She's bleeding. And ran up there and shot that man. And the girl.
Right. With a rifle. Right. And this dude just had a lock. Like they couldn't have went and tackled him and beat him up like they did Rodney King. Yeah, rest in peace, Rodney King. Rest in peace. He's one of the ancestors. All right, but unless you got nothing else, man, we can move on. Is that tyranny, Self?
At the highest.
Yeah, I think it's
might
definitely
even be planned. He might be one of those banditos or whatever them things.
That's what it sounded like, man. He came in there like Triple K, man. Everybody get back. I got like hot. He wanted to get a murder in. Yeah. Yeah.
Get that or to get to being one of those in one of those groups, you know?
Yes. To move up, to get the promotion. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So he can become like that other cop that was sitting there. Well, it's too early to tell if this was overhanded. You know, I've got to look at all the footage. Yeah, whatever. But they got store footage and everything, so it's going to be hard for them to redact and cover all this up. But
they'll come take the footage.
Oh yeah, gangster it. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
all right. So here we go. Is this how to move or how not to move? Face thong, Self.
Huh?
Yeah. Don't. White privilege.
Brace yourself. Experts say holiday travel is back with a vengeance this year, and that's causing concern as the Omicron variant spreads. And this is the last thing we need, the return of mask wars in the cabin.
Banned. United Airlines won't be allowing this passenger on any future flights after he wore ladies' underwear as a face mask.
You're gonna have to come off the airplane. They're not gonna let you travel. What? Non-mask compliance.
Adam Jenny was on a flight from Fort Lauderdale to D.C. when he wore the underwear.
Why not just follow the rules and wear a mask?
The rules make zero sense, and I did follow the rules. The mask actually does everything that the TSA, the FAA require.
When he was taken off the plane, he says this fellow passenger walked out as a gesture of solidarity.
Forget it. I'm out of here.
6 million Americans will take to the skies over the holidays, and a staggering 100 million will hit the road.
Airlines are going to be 90 to 95% full on every flight.
CBS travel editor Peter
Still
Greenberg
packing them
spoke
in
to
on the
reporter
flights.
Allison Hall.
Top tips for making your holiday travel as easy as it can be.
His first tip, book the first flight of the day.
It's your best insurance policy of not getting delayed. No guarantees, but it's the best.
Allow at least 90 minutes between connecting flights.
If you go online and make a reservation, you'll see flights with a 37-minute connecting time. Don't do it. You're going to be stuck at the airport. You'll be sleeping there.
All right, so now we were talking about the they finally figured out that cloth masks aren't worth a damn.
Right.
That's right. So I mean, what about this guy's point? I mean, he was wearing a cloth mask.
You know, that's not how I would move. I mean, personally, but I mean, you know, in light of the hypocrisy of it all, it's kind of funny. And how did it get all the way to the plane?
Because he glitched the matrix. Nobody
Everybody
knew what to
else
say.
was like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see the guy walking off in solidarity? He wasn't even wearing a mask at all.
He had pulled it off at that point. It was hanging over his ear.
Oh, okay. But still.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He was like, yeah, I'm out of here. Yeah, you out.
They never said if so. I guess. I mean, I'm sure they had extra masks, and they're like, "Sir, just switch this." They never like addressed that, and they offered him a standard mask, and he refused to put that on. You know, they never addressed that.
Yeah, I mean, because he technically he was right. I mean, he just needed a cloth covering, and
That's it. Yeah.
It was covering his nose and his mouth.
Dun. Yeah, but as far as us moving like that in the black community, walking around with the thong in your face.
No, that's why I said no way I'd be doing that out there.
Yeah.
It got him his couple minutes of fame. TMZ put him on.
Man, he might mess around and win a lawsuit, bro.
Because they banned him from the service. They said
from flights. So he because what he said is technically right.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a setup.
Might be.
Yeah. Man, I was on the bus the other day, and Pink Privilege got on there. So the buses have been free, every scumbag, and God bless the homeless, but they are all just riding it. Man, the bus would be crowded. People would be walking down the street, just jumping on, riding the block. It was just slowing everything down because it was free.
All right.
And so they finally started charging. So the sign says, fee required and face mask required. Boy, this Pink douchebag got on there. He was young. I know he was a Trumpster. He got on there, so didn't pay, and the driver just let him do it. Grabbed a mask and put it in his pocket. Man, it was almost a riot on that bus, man. And there was a brother on the back. I wish you would come stand your ass back. He stood there pointing on his iPhone, to do without the mask. Yeah, man, just sitting there. And that was on the bus driver, though, bro.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Fully.
Yeah, he was supposed to not move the bus and tell dude,
say, hey, you gotta do this.
First of all, you got to pay. If he'd have stopped him for not paying in the first place, it wouldn't have been an issue.
Right.
Yeah. So, but
all the people that on there that paid got to sit up here and watch him.
Yes.
Pink privilege.
That's exactly what it was. Yes, he was sitting there cocky, man. Yep, it was, man, people were saying stuff, and especially as they was getting off the bus, this one lady, a pink lady, was like, you know, your mask will work better if you take it out of your pocket and put it on your face. Because he took the mask and then put it in his pocket.
Yeah.
And stood around people. And man, it was a brother like, I wish he was standing around me. I'm like, man, see, they fanned up a lot of fear going on. And boy, you almost had mutiny on that.
Well, pink privilege will cause a mutiny.
Yeah, the chances he was a Trump supporter.
Yeah. Well,
not necessarily, but it's a good chance. You know what I mean? But all right, let's move on to the Dome teaser. Here we go, Self Love. And this is for the chat. The Dome teaser. This is a riddle. We expect you guys to put your mind to it and see if you can beat Self Love. All right, and this one. All right, here we go, Self. I can be hot. I can be cold. I can run. And I can be still. I can be hard. And I can be soft. What am I? I can be hot. I can be cold. I can run. And I can be still. I can be hard. And I can be soft. What am I? Yeah? Your thumbs up out there?
That marinade.
All right, chat. You've got a chance, chat. Y'all got a chance.
Ace already solved it.
What? We got to find out if he's heard it before, though. Good. Yeah, look at Ace. He beat the Riddler. Ace, look at that. Hey, but we got to confirm, Ace. Had you heard it before? Had you heard it before? And then Ace said in the chat about the officer, once he saw a person of color, he knew he had the green light. Yeah, you can kill somebody and get paid time off.
Man. And they got those gangs in the police.
Yes. The banditos, like you said. Well, those are the sheriffs, but you know LAPD's got their LAPD's got
their own version.
Come on. You know what I mean? All right, but the only games they talk about is like Pac-Man in the Shy. Remember him? I think he was a vice lord, or he was folks. I think he was a vice lord, and he'd be out there in his uniform with his hat broke off. Remember that? But they made a whole big deal out of that. You know, gangs infiltrating the police department. You know, but the Irish gangs, which we're going to get into, the German, they've been infiltrating. Stop that. The Italian gangs been infiltrated. We'll stay out of it. All right, now, Pink Terror. This is number one in the series, 1863, New York City drafts. Draft riot, that's what we're going to get into. He said, why you always say I'm cheating? No, I haven't heard it before. I didn't say you cheated this time. I just said we have to see if he's heard it before. All right, Ace?
Yeah, period.
Yeah. The first time I think I did claim you may have cheated, but I forgot how that was. I think he's being sensitive here.
Hearing it before, that's not cheating.
That's not cheating.
That's hard. That's knowing the riddle.
But I think I did claim they cheated. It was him and somebody else. Oh, no. He came with the same answer somebody else gave. Remember, right after that?
Right.
Yes. You know, Omni Overseer typed the answer, and then right after that, Ace typed it. And I was like, yeah, well, he saw Omni Overseer. But big ups, Ace. Good job. All right, Ace. You all right. That's one for the chat. I think we'll give them two, because the other one was technically a tie. You know what I mean? Because I think you had that one.
Yeah.
Knew it. Yeah. But good job. The chat. Hey, the chat's getting learned out there. Huh? That's what this is about. All right. But enough of the appetizers out there.
All right. Let's quench the self-love nation's thirst.
All right, y'all. So we all know about Black Wall Street, you know, and we'll get to that eventually in this series. But there was a whole lot of Black Wall Streets. And so that's what we're unpacking. And it'll be done over time. So today's show is number one. And we're going to start in New York City, Manhattan specifically, in 1863. So what sparked the riots of 1863? What sparked the riots of 1863? According to, you got any ideas, Self? Well, according to our research, now that year, you remember, that was the Emancipation Proclamation year.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot going on with the Civil War, the war, to keep the Union unified. So the government mandated a draft, but that's the historical account of what was going on. So at this time, you had a bunch of Irish immigrants and German immigrants. Majority of them were Irish.
Mm-hmm.
They were hating on the blacks. They were just hating on the blacks, and the word had been put out there that freed blacks, freedmen were coming up north. If the blacks got freed, they'd come up north and take their what?
Jobs.
Correct. So I kind of went into the next question was who were the antagonists, but we'll break it down. So you had these, and remember was that movie with the 5 points? What was that movie? Gangs in New York, I think.
Yep.
This was the same time period, and they were depicting a lot of that with the chef and all that. All those guys were racist people. They would put you up in a tree, and you watch those movies and glorify it. And you see gangs in New York. I don't think it was Gangs in New York. Was that it?
Yeah.
All those characters depicted in there would have attempted to put you and your kids and your family right up in a tree, people. They like to glorify their gangs and stuff in their movies, don't they?
Yeah. They
But
like to make big parks out of whole towns.
Yes. So it was these guys. So you had the gangs, you had the volunteer fire department, which Self and I have discovered were just gangs. And most of them were Irish immigrants and German immigrants. These were the antagonists in Manhattan. They were dirt poor. They were uneducated. And they were thirsty. And they could not stand the dignity of our culture. And so that was their race. Now, part of their issue was when the draft was enacted, there was a draft lottery. There was two groups of men who were excluded from the draft. You got any idea who they were, Self? Two groups of men who were excluded from the draft.
Black people and rich white people.
Facts. The blacks were excluded because we were not considered citizens. But I say it's a bit further than that because of racism.
Yes.
The whites in the North couldn't palate black men slaughtering what?
White man.
Yes. But yes, that was it. It was because we weren't citizens where it was a technical answer to that question.
Probably weren't considered human. We weren't considered 3/5 of a person, and that's probably where we stood.
We weren't, and I'm glad you brought that up. There was a lot of time that eugenics and all of that. So what they would do, Self, even during this time, whenever they would bring the immigrants in, and I have reason to believe they're probably still doing it in some sort of subtle way, but they'd bring the immigrants in and they talk to them about not race mixing, and they'll teach them that we were less than human, and they'd educate them on all of that.
Sounds about right.
That's literally what was going on. Now, let's see here. Check here.
Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell.
Facts. And you guys, if you got any comments or question on this topic, please type it in the chat. We got a brilliant, our chat rats here are smarter than the average chat. And if you got any information to add or any inquiries, let us know. All right. Now, okay, so the blacks, we were excluded, and we went to Y. Now, I just told you why the Irish and the German despised us, because they were taught that we were subhuman, and also they were taught that we would take their jobs, and I think they knew that we were more skilled than them, and they had some sort of fear as far as that went too.
Also, didn't want to fight for supposedly our freedom or whatever the case may be, for the Emancipation Proclamation. I know that had to be a huge problem.
Yeah, because in their minds, they're fighting and dying for the freedoms of subhuman people to come take their jobs.
Right.
But we didn't comment too much. You did say the rich. Yes. So the rich were excluded because they had a thing where you could pay the fine, which was $300. Correct. So, and $300, I think they said, was worth probably like $6,500 in today's money. And so that tells you how poor those people were. You know, they couldn't get their hands on that. And the military was also offering 3 square meals a day. You know, and you know, they would give them money and stuff like that, but they were throwing them people around the front lines, and they were being slaughtered.
Yeah.
Slaughtered. So we didn't want to throw that out there. So yeah, that was a good point, Self. That was a doggone good point. So we broke down already the cause of this riot, and then you know, who were the main antagonists. I do want to add though, Self, that there was maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but no, I am. I'll save that. But I do believe, though, just to tease it a little, that the rich pink people played a major part in these riots.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wanted to definitely keep them poor whites separate from getting together with all of the poor people, and you know, so oh yeah, definitely was purposeful, planned. It was set up, and you know, set up like that.
Yeah, and we're going to show how the rich, the textile people in New York, were in bed with the cotton producers in the South. So you got to remember, you had the Dixiecrats and you had the Republicans. Whether you're in the North or the South, you're a Dixiecrat or you're a Republican. So you had a lot of that going on. So and we're going to take the quick halftime, but in the second half, we're going to get more into that and break that down for y'all. So we unpacking some great stuff. I'm going to throw it over to my brother to handle his business.
It's halftime. Yo, thank y'all for being here. This is the Self Luv Show. We're beginning a new series breaking down Pink Terror Part 1. And we're starting with New York, 1863. Got into the early part of it and talked about the reasons and the who, the when, and why. Gonna explore more in the second half. Got some great videos for you to check out. Check these out, and we'll be right back at you.
It's halftime. Big ups to Nas.
OG on the bass, nigga.
What are you looking at, slave? Poets tend to bear all, to expose all. At least the dope ones do. Rest up, my boy. 12 pigs with lipstick. First prize badge for the fattest 12 dipshits. In cute little blue SS uniforms. Sad, chicken little. Livers and gizzards so brittle. Pigs to slaughter. Lambs of the creation. Pigs blowing 7 horns of 7 nations. 12 unicorns added 1 giant leap just for reverberation. I got a feeling. I got a feeling. Yes, what? I got a feeling that swine ain't healthy or appealing. I got a feeling that soon the kings will rise and start doing the kneeling. I got that feeling. 12. Famous black people. Imhotep, master pyramid builder and the world's first multi-genius. Hannibal, one of the greatest soldiers and military genius in world history. Beethoven, one of the world's greatest composers in music. Aesop, world-renowned storyteller. Socrates, one of the greatest thinkers in Western civilization. Saint Maurice, the black patron saint of Germany. Alexander Dumas, author, Three Musketeers. Count Bernadotte, Sweden's first king, called the Negro monarch of Sweden. Pietro Alonso Nino, captain of Adirante Colon's flagship, the Santa Maria. Francesco Boato, founder of the city of Brooklyn, presently a borough of New York City. Henri Pont du Sable, founder of the city of Chicago, Illinois. Samuel Francis, saved the, quote, father of the United States of America, George Washington, from being poisoned by Thomas Hickey, who was a then agent of the British Army. Gibraltar Tariq, Rock of Gibraltar is named after him. Robert Browning, world-renowned poet and writer. Terentius Afer, greatest of the Latin stylists. Question everything. Do your own research. This ain't that history.
Do you still have them?
Man, I thank you guys for inviting me on. Thank you. Great format, very solid. You know, it don't have that low budget movie feel. You know what I'm saying? And we get that a lot in the black community, for real.
Yeah.
Like people look at us to be fuck ups. They look at us to be low budget. They look at us to be ignorant, stuttering, and use a whole bunch of and all of that. But no, they got the real deal on here. That everybody know who Torian Mills is, baby. They know.
Hey, well, bro,
They so ignorant, man.
Hey, but this platform's your platform. This platform's my platform. From Inglewood, California to Chicago,
South Shore.
Crazy thing about it,
This platform is
made for you and me.
It's made for you and
the
Do
crazy.
ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. I was trying to get out the end of the preamble, but go ahead, bro.
Yes, sir.
I'ma give it all and I won't slow.
Yeah.
I'ma show the world what they don't know. I'ma be the one. I'ma be the one when I'm done. Higher. If I made it this far, I'll go higher. If I made it this far, I can make it anywhere. If I made it this
Trife, man, for this one. Check out Trife Mac.
Big ups.
Welcome back to the Self Love Show, where we are breaking down Pink Terror, Part 1, New York, 1863. It's a blessing to get these lessons.
Woo! In the world. Share it with your girl.
Girl, your man. You're playing. Serious. Woo!
Big ups, Trifo. Big ups.
Big.
Man. Hey, I'll be on the bus on the way to work. Listen to this.
Man.
Yeah.
It's dope.
Very dope. All right. So we're gonna jump on into the second half. We appreciate y'all standing by during the during the halftime. And so now we're gonna push forward with our topic. Once again, we're covering Pink Terror. This is number 1 in a series that is going to go on for quite some while. We're starting in 1863. What was the New York labeled the New York draft
riots?
Riots, yeah. And so let's see here. All right. So now there was a 4-day. It turned out it was a 4-day insurrection. Self Love.
What?
Yeah, that was 4 days worth of terror, if you will. And you guys, make sure you, as Self said a minute ago, please like, share, subscribe, share the link. Share this link. It's the utmost necessity to subscribe to the channel. It won't cost you any money or anything of that nature. We need you guys to understand that. Definitely need you guys to understand that. So let's see here. Background.
Same time, it helps us immensely. It doesn't even cost you a dime. It's free 99.
Free 99. Won't cost you one single dime. And for the Self, you can say they smacked you around on the riddle today, huh? 4 days.
Well, they got the riddle, All right. I don't feel smacked around at all or whatever. I know it's going to be coming real soon. So somebody got it. Good.
I'm confident, though, you'd have figured it out.
Yeah.
I'm confident.
It would have came.
Yeah. All right, so all right, let's see. I want to make sure I'm at the right place here. Background. Here we go. All right, so on Monday, so it started on that Monday, there were reports of rioting in Buffalo, New York, and certain other cities. But the first drawing of draft numbers on July 11, 1863, occurred peaceably in Manhattan. The second drawing was held on Monday, July 13, 1863, 10 days after the Union victory at Gettysburg. At 10 a.m., a furious crowd of around 500, led by the volunteer firemen of Engine Company 33, there they go, Self, the volunteer firemen. We discovered through our gang study that Those were the original gangs. And we have reason to believe they're the ones who burned down the city of Chicago, but that's a whole nother story. But being paid by the rich people once again. There's always a shadow arm, people. All right, but anyway, led by the volunteer firemen of Engine Company 33, they were known as the Black Joke. I can't make this up. They attacked the Assistant 9th District Provost Marshal's office at 3rd Avenue and 47th Street, the place where the draft was taking place. The crowd threw large paving stones through windows, burst through doors, and set the building ablaze. When the fire department responded, of course, I thought the fire department started it, but when the fire department responded, rioters broke up their vehicles. Others killed horses that were pulling streetcars and smashed the cars. To prevent other parts of the city being notified of the riot, they actually cut telegraph lines.
Wow!
Now watch how this how this smoke and mirror itself. That's why I believe the rich people had their hand in it. Since the New York State militia was conveniently sent to assist Union troops at Gettysburg, the local New York Metropolitan Police Department, which is a bunch of Irish, was the only force on hand to try to suppress the riots. Convenient. Police Superintendent John Kennedy arrived at the site on Monday to check on the situation. Although not in uniform, people in the mob recognized him and attacked him. Kennedy was left nearly unconscious, his face bruised and cut, his eye injured, his lips swollen, and his hand cut with a knife. He must have grabbed a knife. He had been beaten to a mass of bruises and blood all over his bodies. Police drew their clubs and revolvers and charged the crowd, but were overpowered. The police were badly outnumbered and unable to quell the riots, but they kept the rioting out of lower Manhattan below the Union Square, kept it off the rich people. Pretty much. Inhabitants of the bloody 6th Ward around the South Street Seaport and 5 Points areas. Yeah, that's what that movie was about, the 5 Points. They refrained from involvement in the rioting. The 19th Company, 1st Battalion U.S. Army Invalid Corps, which was part of the Provost Guard, attempted to disperse this mob with a volley of gunfire, but were overwhelmed and suffered over 14 injured, with 1 soldier missing, believed to be killed. Now, there was a Bull's Head Hotel. It was burned down in the riot. The first black owned pharmacy it was like a Walgreens. They burned that down. Damn. They burned down the Tribune building. They stormed a colored or black orphan asylum and burned it down. Yeah. One of the people in charge was able to get most of the kids out, and but that person was killed. They also attacked buildings on Lexington Avenue. So the Bull's Head Hotel, which refused to provide alcohol to the mob, got burned down. The mayor's residence was spared by words of George Gardner Bernard, to which the crowd of about 500 turned to another location. So why did they spare the mayor's house?
It was somebody calling it, told them they better not do that.
Correct. The mob was turned back at the Times office by staff manning. Oh, the staff had Gatling guns. So somebody knew what was coming, because how do they have Gatling guns at the damn, right? Why would they have Gatling guns at the time?
Because they might, because it's war time, and any political figure could be,
Yeah, I feel like they were tipped off because I mean,
I think
why does the newspaper? You think the newspaper just manned Gatling guns to?
Oh no, I thought he was talking about the mayor's house out there.
No, we're talking about the Times. So
of course they got tipped off. You're exactly right. My bad.
It's all good. So including the Times. The Times founder Henry Jarvis Raymond had Gatling guns. So there was fire engine companies responded, but some firefighters were sympathetic to the rioters because they had also been drafted on Saturday. The New York Tribune was attacked, being looted and burned, not until police arrived and extinguished the flames, dispersing the crowd. Later in the afternoon, authorities shot and killed a man as a crowd attacked the Armory at 2nd Avenue and 21st Street. So they were stealing the guns. The mob broke all the windows with paving stones ripped from the street. The mob beat, tortured, and/or killed numerous black civilians, including one man who was attacked by a crowd of 400 with clubs and paving stones, then lynched and hanged from a tree and set on fire. The Colored Orphan Asylum at 43rd and 5th, a symbol of white charity to blacks and of black upward mobility that provided shelter for 23 black kids, was attacked by the mob around 4 p.m. How evil must you be? A mob of several thousand, including many women and children, looted the building of its food and supplies. However, the police were able to secure the orphanage for enough time to allow the orphans to escape before the building burned all the way down. Throughout the areas of rioting, mobs attacked and killed numerous black civilians and destroyed their known homes and businesses. This is the Black Wall Street portion, such as James McCune's Smith's Pharmacy at 93rd West Broadway, believed to be the first owned by a black man in the country. Near the Midtown docks, tensions brewing since the mid-50s boiled over. As recently as March 63, white employers had hired black longshoremen with whom many white men refused to work. Rioters went into the streets in search of all the Negro porters, cartmen, and laborers to attempt to remove all evidence of a black and interracial social life from the area near the docks. White dock workers attacked and destroyed brothels, dance halls, boarding houses, and tenements that catered to black people. Mobs stripped the clothing off the white owners of these businesses. Now, that was Monday. You got any comments on that?
That was one day. My God.
Yeah, that was the first day.
Demons.
Yeah, this is evil. We don't really throw that word around a lot. This is really evil, and with the way they talk about us when we're protesting and going into Gucci store and taking handbags, the way they call us savages and stuff like that. I need our people to know what savagery is. Our people were dignified self. We were longshoremen. We weren't falling victim to all of the vices. So our money was recirculating. We were coming up. They were blowing their money and making excuses. And we were just coming up. But heavy rain fell on Monday night. This is Tuesday. Heavy rain fell on Monday night, helping to abate the fires, God is good, and sending rioters home. But the crowds returned the next day. Rioters burned down the home of Abby Gibbons, a prison reformer and the daughter of an abolitionist, Isaac Hopper. They also attacked white amalgamationists, such as Ann Derrickson and Ann Martin, two white women who were married to black men, and Mary Burke, a white prostitute who catered to black men. I guess we had some of the vices. Governor Horatio Seymour arrived on Tuesday and spoke at City Hall, where he attempted to assuage the crowd by proclaiming that the Conscription Act was unconstitutional. General John E. Wool, commander of the Eastern District, brought approximately 800 soldiers and Marines in from forts in New York Harbor, West Point, and the Brooklyn Navy Yard. He ordered the militias to return to New York. So that was Tuesday. Any comments?
More savagery.
Yeah, and I want to add, man, that they were going to they alleged they were going to certain rich people's homes, and I don't know if this was a cover up or what. But none of them were getting killed. They were stealing stuff and looting the houses, and some of them, like Steinway from the piano maker, he wrote all about it in his diary, and the rich people were paying. It was like what you were saying. There was people calling it saying, not this house, not that house.
Yeah.
They were coming out and giving that man who was calling it cash.
Yeah.
I think that was all just part of the cover up to have some justification and say, well, why wasn't this house burned down? And you can conveniently say, "Oh, we paid them not to do it."
Yeah.
Because how is a mob that rational? Kill everybody! Here's $30. Next house! You didn't pay everybody.
No, they just paid the one person that could say no.
Yeah.
They paid the person who called it. And the person that called is like, no, not this one. Don't do that one. Don't do that one.
Yeah.
You don't want to deal with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know all of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know how I slaughter and get down. Correct. That's what I'm getting from that too, Self. Not saying the Moles would have ever done anything like that, but it'd be like Jeff Fort saying, no, not that one.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Larry Hoover saying, no, not that house. Yeah, and the mob would calm down and, all right, next house.
Let's go, next house, plenty houses, let's go.
You say they weren't that drunk, so. All right. On the Wednesday, they said the situation improved. This is July 15th, when Assistant Provost Marshal General Robert Nugent received word from his superior office, Colonel James Barnett Fry, to postpone the draft. As this news appeared in newspapers, some riders stayed home, but some of the militias began to return and use harsh measures against the remaining riders. The rioting spread to Brooklyn and Staten Island. So they kind of got their way because the draft was, how'd they put it? Postponed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Postponed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. They say rioting gets you nothing. And yeah.
Well, it depends on you got to really riot. And that was a riot. That wasn't, the stuff that stealing and all that is stealing and all that. That's not rioting.
I agree. They were overwhelming the police, like the people had numbers.
And the army.
Yeah.
Because there was a war going on. So those people came and they got overwhelmed. It was a perfect storm. The people that were supposed to guard that was away from there. And they like, yeah. And they were part of the underclass, and so were the police, and so were the firemen. So they all was.
Yeah, and this research shows me, the power of the people.
Facts.
And the power of the military, that, yeah, they're here to protect our nation, but they're also here to protect us from ourselves as well. Or to keep the order, I should say.
To protect the corporation.
Yes, the status quo. Yes. Let's see here. Ace said they could have drafted me and gave me guns and ammunition in 1863 and took their chances. That's probably another reason why they didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know who the Negroes was going to start shooting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who shot him? A lot of friendly fire, huh, so? A lot of friendly fire. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Not so friendly fire. Shoot.
True.
Went both ways. You had to watch the people that you with too.
Go up that hill, you dirty niggers. Just turn around. Right, man. All right. On Thursday, order began to be restored. This is July 16th. The New York State Militia and some federal troops had returned to New York, including the 152nd New York Volunteers, the 26th Michigan Volunteers, the 27th Indiana Volunteers, and the 7th Regiment. So, they were war battled. 7th Regiment New York State Militia and from Frederick, Maryland, after a forced march. In addition, the governor sent in the 74th and 65th Regiments of the New York State Militia, which had not been in federal service, and a section of the 20th Independent Battery, New York Volunteer Artillery from Fort Schuyler and Throgs Neck.
They brought in the firepower.
Yes, the New York State militia units were the first to arrive. There were several thousand militia and federal troops in the city. A final confrontation occurred in the evening near Gramercy Park, according to Adrian Cook. 12 people died on this last day of the riots and skirmishes between the rioters, the police, and the army. The New York Times reported on Thursday that Plug Uglies, these are gangs people, they act like black people invented this shit, the Plug Uglies and Blood Tubs gang members from Baltimore, as well as the Sky Kill or Ski Kill Rangers and other rowdies from Philadelphia, had come to New York during the unrest to participate in the riots alongside the Dead Rabbits, another gang, and the Macarovillers, another gang. The Times editorialized that the scoundrels cannot afford to miss the golden opportunity of indulging their brutal natures and at the same time serving their colleagues, the Copperheads, and the Sakesh sympathizers. So that's the secessionist sympathizers. And I think the Times are on to something, that these people didn't just come to riot. They were paid to be there.
Yeah.
Now, Self, I saw another research. They said the military, was a video I was watching, was telling them to disperse, and they had those Gatling guns out, bro. And the riders weren't dispersing. They didn't believe fat meat was greasy. And it was blood all over the streets, and that's what ended the riots. Yeah. They just and I've been naive saying, the military won't turn on its own people. I'm naive. They've been so programmed to follow those orders.
And those people had just come from war with Americans. So you know what I mean?
True.
It really ain't no
true.
What's the difference from
True.
them people than these people?
You're right.
You know what I mean?
And their commanders were probably telling them these are traitors. You know what I mean?
They attacked and overran them already.
Right.
Before they got back there, they attacked and overran them already.
And all you have to do is suggest that these traitors are working for the South.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Them Gatling guns, bro. They was unloading that. Remember they did that to the regulators and Young Guns. Like, run, go. Remember, dude?
Killed a bunch of them, didn't it?
Well, they Gatling the lawyer who was dying of cancer. They just turned the Gatling gun on him because he was celebrating the regulators getting away. They hit him with about 100 bullets. And it's supposed to be some historical truth to that movie. I don't know if that happened, but
Yeah.
Aftermath. Now here's some discrepancies. Now the exact death toll during the New York draft riots is unknown. But according to historian James McPherson, 119 or 120 people were killed. Violence by longshoremen against black men was especially fierce in the docks area. They were saying majority of those killed were black. I've seen estimates through this research as high as 2,000 killed and 8,000 injured, and that seems
more realistic.
That's what I was going to ask you. Which one you think is closer to the truth? 119 dead Negroes or 2,000 dead Negroes?
2,000. I mean, if we had an area in a neighborhood, I mean, it would be more than 119. It was burning people out and burning things up.
And we can't hide from our skin color.
And killing people that everybody saw, and they were going to people's cribs that
to our neighborhoods. Yes.
Right. And that's right. It's no way it was,
Right. Especially in the military killed more than 100 people, I'm sure. Military and the police, probably. So the exact death toll during the New York draft, right? We read that. All right. West of Broadway, west of Broadway below 26, all was quiet at 9 p.m. on the last night. A crowd was at the corner of 7th Avenue and 27th Avenue at that time. This was the scene of the hanging of a Negro in the morning and another at 6 o'clock in the evening. They were doing some, I don't want to say masonry, but they were doing something, sacrificing.
Terrorism is what they was doing.
The body of the one hung in the morning presented a shocking appearance at the station house. His fingers and toes had been sliced off. This is what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And there was scarcely an inch of flesh which was not gashed. Late in the afternoon, a Negro was dragged out of his house in West 27th Street, beaten down on the sidewalk, pounded in a horrible manner, and then hung on a tree. In all, 11 black men were hanged over 5 days. Among the murdered blacks was a seven-year-old nephew of Bermudian First Sergeant Robert John Simmons of the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment, whose account of fighting in South Carolina, written on the approach to Fort Wagner, was to be published in the New York Tribune on 12/23/1863. Simmons having died in August of wounds received in the attack on the fort. The most reliable estimates indicate at least 2,000 people were injured. Herbert Asbury, the author of 1928 book Gangs of New York, upon which the 2002 film was based, puts the figure much higher at 2,000 killed and 8,000 wounded, a number that many dispute. Total property damage was 1 to 5 million, equivalent to 16.7 million to 83.7 million in 2019's worth of money. The city treasury later indemnified 1/4 of the amount. Historian Samuel Morrison wrote that the riots were equivalent to a Confederate victory. See, this is what it sounds like. 50 buildings, including 2 Protestant churches and the colored orphan asylum, were burned to the ground. 4,000 federal troops had to be pulled out of Gettysburg's campaign to suppress the riots, troops that could have aided in pursuing the battered Army of Northern Virginia as it retreated out of Union territory. During the riots, landlords, fearing that the mob would destroy their buildings, drove black residents from their homes. As a result of the violence against them, hundreds of black people left New York, including physician James McCune Smith, could be related to you, Self, and his family, moving to Williamsburg, Brooklyn, or New Jersey. The white elite in New York organized to provide relief to black riot victims, helping them find new work and homes. The Union League Club and the Committee of Merchants for the Relief of Colored People provided nearly $40,000 to 2,500 victims of the riots. By 1865, the black population in the city had dropped to under 10,000, the lowest since 1820. The white working class riots had changed the demographics of the city, and the white residents exerted their control in the workplace. They became unequivocally divided from the black population. On August 19, the government resumed the draft in New York. It was completed within 10 days without further incident. Fewer men were drafted than had been feared by the white working class. Of the 750,000 selected nationwide for conscription, only about 45,000 were sent to active duty. While the rioting mainly involved the white working class, middle and upper class New Yorkers had split sentiments on the draft and use of federal power or martial law to enforce it. Many wealthy Democratic businessmen, here's your party you vote for, Self, you go in there and just vote the party line. All right, yeah, you're right. My bad on that. That's not
Independent
true.
out there.
Yeah. I am independent. I make my own decisions. I do my own vote. Don't tell me how to cast it. But many wealthy Democratic businessmen sought to have the draft declared unconstitutional. To many, Democrats did not seek to have the draft declared unconstitutional, but they helped pay the commutation fees for those who were drafted. In December 1863, the Union League Club recruited more than 2,000 black soldiers, outfitted and trained them, honoring and sending men off with a parade through the city of the Hudson River docks. In March 1864, a crowd of 100,000 watched a procession, which was led by police and members of the Union League Club. New York's support for the Union cause continued, however, grudgingly and gradually Southern sympathies declined in the city. New York banks eventually financed the Civil War, and the state's industries were more productive than those of the entire Confederacy. By the end of the war, more than 450,000 soldiers, sailors, and militia had enlisted from New York State, which is the most populous state at the time. A total of 46,000 military men from New York State died during the war, more from disease than wounds, as was typical of most combatants. Yeah, those people was nasty, bro. They went, taking baths and washing their hands before they eat and stuff like that.
Yeah, they medicine was gory and all that. Oh yeah, foot's little something wrong with your foot out there. We're gonna just cut it off.
Take a shot of this. Hand me that saw over there on the ground.
Yeah.
Pick that saw up off the ground.
Drink this.
Mm-hmm.
Hold him down.
Man, yeah, you're right. The treatment would kill you, and the way they were processing the food and storing it and stuff. You know, most sickness, I've said it, over 90% when you feel sick or sniffle, it's something you ate, something had some bacteria on it. I'm telling you, man, we've been conditioned that it comes from somebody coughing on you and all this nonsense. Most of the times it comes from something you ate.
Well, food can be a medicine and keep you well, or it can be a poison.
Yeah.
It's just facts.
Yeah. Maybe something was undercooked, and it goes back to, I'm leaning back going towards going back vegan self. I'm very close to it. Yeah. Very close to it. I can't justify the way they treat these animals, these spiritual beings, and the way they process this food and all of that. It's a holocaust is what it is.
I mean, they grow them to do that.
Facts.
I mean, just saying, like, growing us to
in Russia and Turkey, you talk about herd mentality. I watched a video today on the news. So the dairy producers, the ones who have the cows in these standing on concrete and then installed. Now they're putting the ocular devices on them. So they're in the metaverse so that the cows think they're in a pasture. And these cows, they say, are producing way more milk. And I'm like, you devils, and they're telling you what they're going to do to us. And I'm like, you demons.
That's the Matrix.
Yes, but you demons exactly.
I mean, that's exactly the Matrix. You got a little thing, you're there producing energy for the whole situation, and you got your metaverse thing.
Yes.
That is the Matrix.
Yes, and they're practicing with these animals, and and they're conditioning us to believe we're a herd. And yes, you're exactly right. As opposed to just putting these cows out in a pasture, they'd rather keep them. It's good, but now, I think the metaverse would be good for prison inmates, but they won't give it to any inmates.
That would kind of defeat the purpose.
But think about it, man. They could probably cure them, show them love and, and things like that. But you're right. It defeats their purpose. Correct.
Yes.
All right. But here we go. Now, I'm going to ask you a couple questions or some comments we had because that wrapped up, my research. So broke down the 4-day insurrection. I wanted to say New York was a major player in the cotton textiles industry. Many elites were in favor of the South at that time. Many. They were even talking secessionists, talking, seceding from the Union and fighting on behalf of the South.
Yeah.
So I asked you earlier, and this is a question for the chat. Do you think these elites could have orchestrated and or financed these insurrections?
It's very possible and probable, because they could have put out the propaganda that make these people feel like they're gonna send us to war, and they're gonna have them take our jobs and all that blah 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 blah. And the
elites thinking, and the price of cotton's gonna go up. Right, that's what the elites are thinking, and you know what I mean? Because they were running the textile. It was hypocritical. We're anti-slavery, but then the North is buying all of the products from slave labor.
Well, there was slavery in the North too, though.
Yes,
it was just very different. They were doing different things. They were doing textiles and all that. They act like slavery is abolished in the North. It wasn't.
Yeah, and they try to pretend like they wasn't hanging niggas.
The whole thing is the Emancipation Proclamation did not free any slaves in the North. It just freed the slaves in the places where that it succeeded from the Union.
Correct.
So they, it was still slavery in,
There's still lynchings going on in the North.
Hold on, still a lot of slavery, but there was still a whole lot of free people. There was free people in the North and the South.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? That's where they went and started doing all that crap they was doing. Those were to free people, but there's still slavery in.
Facts. And I want to say that I want to make sure it's known that there was lynching and lynch mobs going on in the North as well, because history has been writing like that was only going on in the South. So I just want to make that clear that Boston was awful, Philly was awful, Chicago was awful, and yes, it put a Negro in a tree anywhere.
100 years of lynching. J. Rogers, check it out.
I do need to check that out. Yeah, I do need to check that out. I haven't read that. I never even heard of it. So I definitely want to read that. All right. Now, we asked you the question about the death toll. I'll ask that for the chat. It's estimated that 120 to 2,000 people were killed. Which do you guys think? Me and Self Love agree that it would be closer to the 2,000 mark. And the history has said that a majority of the people killed were somehow black.
Yeah, that's how it goes. You already know.
So, chat, which do you believe is closest to the truth? And why do you think, chat, that there's such a huge discrepancy in that number? I didn't ask you that, Self. Why do you think there's such a huge discrepancy in the history on that number of dead?
Well, okay, that might take a couple of, I'm not going to take that long with it.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, they whitewash everything, and they make it so that it doesn't appear as bad as it was. And, you know, proof of it is how they're trying to take slavery out of schools. They don't even teach that. They want to change the facts about it. This story that we're covering now will not be included in history.
Yeah, I never heard about it. I'm talking about through all my schooling and
right. We talking about us. I'm talking about it's going to be wiped completely from the with this new thing that they're doing, and that's what they've always done, and they will continue to do if it's allowed. And it's crazy. Like, you don't want your children to know what you did, and that's already been going on because a lot of these people don't understand the historical basis for the whole thing because everything's been whitewashed.
Facts.
Like, just like in the video you showed, a whole lot of the people in that video, people thought were white, and they weren't. And it's way more than that because they whitewash it all.
Facts. To the point where immigrants come over here to this day from Ireland and wherever, and these poor shithole Eastern European countries as well. Quote unquote shithole countries, and they come over here with a privilege and an arrogance, and they come over here programmed that black people haven't done anything for this society and
the world.
Yeah, and we just need to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps and then, you know, when we know this history, it's empowering. We can tell them your ancestors were slaughtering us.
And we taught y'all how to wash.
Correct. We taught you how to wash and clean and be dignified. Your ancestors were slaughtering us. Your ancestors were the gang members and the rioters. That's you. But you're telling us that we are. That's you.
Everything, all of it.
Yes. Yes. And what happened, so even in this research, it was saying what you've been saying, America wasn't, we talk about whitewash, wasn't majority white, like, at all. And that's why they kept bringing these people over.
Yes. And still, and because the numbers are skewed, like all these people they bring over here are classified as white.
Yep.
All of them.
Yep. Yep.
So all these immigrants now, I don't care where they from and all that, all of them are being classified as white to keep them as the majority.
But hey, to any pink people out here watching, we're not talking to the white ones. Don't forget about the spook that sat by the door. There's a lot of us. I got them in my family. They look like you. They don't think like you necessarily. You know what I mean? So be careful out there.
Do you let them get exposed?
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah. But I'm just, yeah, exactly. Just everybody that you know, think is white ain't white. I'll put it to you that way. It's been many of us passing. Some of us have cooned to pass, but other ones are like the spooks that sat by the door. I'm telling you. Yeah. So word to the wise. But like Self said, do you come up missing if you want to. But we vibrate love on this show. So if you got any final thoughts or anything on this topic that you wanted to add before we close it out there. And let me check the chat while you're doing that.
Just a slight recap that this is savagery at its worst, and it's should be well looked at as such and not glorified or whitewashed or made to look like something it wasn't. This was demons.
Demon time, and they putting it on us.
Every time that they say what they say about us, it's a mirror for them.
Facts. You know, what do my girls say? What's her name? That's leading Black Lives Matter, but you know, not that I really support that, but I do support Black Lives, but you know what I'm saying. But she said we learned all that shit from y'all. The rioting and the gang stuff, we learned it from you.
We did, but we ain't learn it because the way they did it was.
You ain't lying. We ain't went inside. We ain't up on the north side and up on the Gold Coast and going to orphanages with white kids and burning down with the kids in there and stuff like that.
None of that savagery. We ain't
never
stringing
moved
nobody up or killing nobody and all of that.
And then, Self, we got to do a story on, we're going to do a series on insurrections as well. I want to do a flat earth story. Have you break that down, but a story on insurrections, because they'll call it slave rebellion and black rebellion and all of that. And I have reason to believe that that was just us defending ourselves.
Always.
Yeah.
It's a rebellion. Yeah. It's because it comes down to somebody saying, oh, he raped me. And then they go try to
mob
do something.
Comes to your neighborhood.
After different wars, we came back with guns.
Yes. And with a military mindset.
You're right.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
Y'all not taking him.
Yeah.
They'll come and be like, y'all ain't taking him.
Yeah.
It'd be a firefight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And some white men to get killed, and then the military will come in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a rebellion.
But here we go. DJ Creeper, he said, good evening. What up? What down? He said, my dog eats raw food. He's very healthy. And he said, pescatarian, explain it more for us. Is that a form of vegetarianism?
Yes, that's what I am. Some fish and seafood and.
Oh, we'll break that down because explain that for them.
Well, it's a dietary form of diet where you eat some fish and some seafood and vegetables and all of that. You don't eat any red meat or turkey or birds or anything like that.
Any of that stuff that they're torturing on the farms.
Yeah. Well, some of that, pescatarian, some of that stuff, anything that's on the farm is not,
natural.
Proper.
Yeah.
It's not proper to me.
Well, and he said, yes, they did. Missed the timing on that, so I don't know what he's referring to.
Right.
The overseer said the bank is always the bank.
Yeah, we got to create our own banks again.
Facts, and protect them.
We can all be our own bank. It's a way.
Facts. So, and you guys, that's very facts. No need to answer the riddle, but I'll just repeat it because Ace, congrats. The house has finally stepped up, and for the second time, we'll give them that. They beat Self Love. We have reason to believe they did not cheat this time. According to Ace, it felt like he got a little snippy. It makes me believe he was cheating or something. Because that's how I used to be at U of I. What? Me? Cheat? Get snippy with the dean. There we go. But the riddle was, I could be hot, I could be cold, I can run, I can be still, I could be hard, I could be soft. What am I? That was a good one. Ace figured it out. Yeah, water. Yeah. So that was the riddle of the day. And big ups to the chat on that one. You guys, as I mentioned earlier, it's not going to be our next video. We'll let you know when it's scheduled. But this is a series. And the next one we're doing is the Detroit Pink Massacre of 1863. So there's more of us being massacred, slaughtered in 1863, which seems to be a very bloody year in America's history. My goodness. And then on January 19th, we got PhD in the building, Dr. Kurt Jasper. You guys can see him. He had a TED Talk. He's from Chi-Town. And looking forward, this is lessons, not lectures. He's got both. He's got the lecture and the lessons. And we're covering Black mental health. What say ye, Self Love?
Lectures of lessons.
Yes.
That's what I would say for that gentleman. I'm looking forward to this conversation. It's going to be expansive.
Yeah, he's a Chi-Town silverback and a high achiever as well. So big ups to that brother. So that's going to be right here on the Self Love Show, Wednesday, January 19th. Mañana on Mouthpiece Included. We're covering dysfunction at Hallis Hall, the dysfunction at Hallis Hall, the dumbing down, instead of bear down, it's dumb down. And so we're going to cover like the next move, because as we know, the coach and the Ryan Pace has been fired. So looking very forward to see who they bring in. Don't have much confidence in the organization, but we're going to unpack that tomorrow. So big ups to all you guys for supporting the show. Don't go away, because this is my personal favorite part of the whole shebang. And we always close it out with Wordsmith's final words.
Pink Terror. Still going on in this current era. Still preaching the false narrative that we are lesser of them, no matter where we live, or what we've been through, or the insight we have. Savagery at its worst. I would never laugh. The bloodbath. Murdering us. It's a history. And they trying to whitewash it and make it a mystery. Lets me know that they've been doing it all before. Trying to show us that we're from somewhere else. Like we don't own this land we own. Trying to wipe our knowledge of self. But health is wealth, and you better take care of yours. Because we have to explore and open different doors. They got us all messed up. But we can get back to where we came from. It's all stored in our DNA and can be unlocked if you meditate and pray. Each and every day, I make it a point to grow. I learned something I didn't know before. make sure I reap what I sow. So show and prove each and every day. And we can get from the tyranny to the place we want to stay. Words.
Yeah, Silverdale, that's where we want to stay. Silverdale. Yeah, we're going to close it out with a joint from Chicago's very own Rashid. Y'all might know him as Common Sense. It's called Imagine, featuring PJ. Bullets are boomerangs, G.
Stand your ground.
Murder, suicide, kill yourself.
Yeah. An eye for an eye.
Yeah, that's facts too. Silence is violence.
You see something, say something.
Twirl. Slave theory. Take some greed. You take that ego. Mix in that fear. You made yourself a slave.
Facts. Charity plus humility times love is freedom.
That's how you break them chains. Freedom theory. Don't answer questions.
Question everything from every source.
Even our source.
Every source.
Do your own research. Use your own discernment. You are a god. Fear is cap.
Facts. So vibrate love.
Forgiveness and charity, those are the highest love vibrations.
So do something charitable for a so-called enemy and end the beef.
Facts. Man, they say healthy people heal thy people, yo.
That's, yeah, because hurt people for sure hurt people.
Hey, free the old man. Free Larry Hoover, man.
Free Chief Malik, Jeff Ford.
Open it up. Free all the guys.
Prison is slavery.
Facts. Hey, y'all be like one of the disciples, St. Pedro. Keep your eyes on Yahshua, and you can walk on H2O.
Facts. Matter of fact, move mountains.
Man, you make it sound so simple. How we supposed to move mountains, bro?
Hey, good books say all you need is the faith of a mustard seed. And you know we got way more than that.
Mustard seed, huh?
Yes, sir.
That don't seem like a lot of faith, brother.
We got way more than that.
Yo.